Yesterday's patrol responded out to a hotel, microtel on Lehigh Station Road in the town of Henrietta for reported kidnapping. When patrol arrived on location there, they determined that, in fact, a female was kidnapped from the location. In a cooperative effort with the Road Patrol, the Major Crimes Unit, RPD, and the Marshal's Task Force, we were able to locate the vehicle that contained both suspects and the victim in that crime. I know you guys had the press release, so if you want to ask me questions, let's do that.
So what was the relationship between Sims, Brooks, and the victim?
The victim was being trafficked or prostituted by the two suspects.
Can you just take us through the video real quick? Just tell the viewer what they're seeing real quick.
So in the video, you see that the victim had come down to the front desk in an effort to get away from the suspects. When the female suspect approaches her at the counter, there's a physical altercation that takes place there. The victim is trying to hold on and stay in the hotel and get help. She's ultimately dragged to the vestibule or the entry door. At that point, the male suspect comes from the vehicle, assists the female suspect in carrying the victim to the vehicle. The victim is then put into the vehicle and they drive away.
So she was being in the hotel, she was being prostituted, or am I wrong in that assumption?
She was in the hotel. I can't tell you definitively that she was there prostituting at that time, but yeah, she was in the hotel with the suspects.
From the moment that the altercation happened to when investigators, police, and the Monroe County Sheriff's Office found them, how long was that? What was the duration of that time?
So it all kicks off about 5:45 in the morning, and they were located sometime just before 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
That was some legwork. Talk to me about that legwork right there. That could have been a whole different type of situation.
Certainly, and again, it was obviously from the video, it was a legitimate kidnapping, and we felt that the victim was in serious physical danger. We were able to pull together resources, get lists of address, and send vehicles out, or send policemen out to those addresses to check. Ultimately, while they're doing that, they find the suspect vehicle, and a traffic stop was performed after that. And again, that was with the cooperation of the Rochester Police Department and the Marshal's Task Force.
Go ahead, sir.
So this has to do with sex trafficking?
So we're looking into that further, and it's certainly, the reason that she was there or with those two people is that she was being prostituted.
So let's call a spade, right? That was the pimp, she was the prostitute.
She was, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the guy behind the counter, he kind of let things play out. Was he the one who telephoned police eventually?
He ultimately calls the police, yes.
Are these suspects known to law enforcement?
Both had a very minimal criminal history.
That video is crazy, to say the least. You know, when I said, oh my gosh. Talk to me, when you see that type of video, what is the reaction from law enforcement when that aggressive of an attack happens?
So the reaction was we put a lot of resources very quickly into trying to find this woman. Like we said, it was obviously a very physical, very violent crime. We certainly didn't know what the outcome of that was going to be if we didn't find her in a timely fashion. So that's why we called in cooperation from other places. Like I said, our Major Crimes Unit responded, and we started banging out addresses as fast as we could in order to try and locate the victim.
Investigator Bolt, you led me to my next question. So, if it wasn't so quick, and we don't like to talk in hypotheticals, but what could have happened if it wasn't as boom as it was? Could it have been a lot worse for the victim?
Oh, I'm sure it could have been. I mean, she wasn't going to get away from them. I mean, when we stopped the car, she was in the car with them. So they weren't letting her go, right? She's in the car at the time when it gets stopped. So who knows what, like you said, we don't want to deal in hypotheticals. Who knows what would have happened, but for sure she would have been held there against her will for a longer period of time. And she did go to the hospital to be treated for injuries after. So there were injuries sustained during this incident.
And the suspects are in custody, correct?
The suspects are both in custody.
What could they be facing for this kind of thing?
So we charged them with kidnapping and assault. That was from yesterday, but we're going to continue the investigation into any further or any other crimes that might have been committed by them to her.
Is the victim getting treated right now?
So the victim went to the hospital. She's getting treated. Our victim's advocate and our victim services people were sent to the hospital and are dealing with her now. I think they've engaged outside services to try and help. She's not from this area, so the victim's not from this area. She came here not with these people. She came here from another part of the country, and she's only been here a short time. And she's been with these people for just a few months.
Here's my next question, thanks.
Is that microtel known to sheriff's deputies to be a place of sex trafficking and prostitution?
So the hotels are very safe in this area, and it's not really a hotbed, one in particular, but hotels, they oftentimes attract that type of activity. So it's not unusual for us to go to a local hotel for a prostitution type issue, but ultimately it's a low percentage, and it's not any one hotel.
In what part of the country was she from? I'm sorry.
She's from, I'm not going to tell you.
Is there a county, task force that deals with situations like this?
So situations like what, kidnapping or sex trafficking?
Both. Kidnapping
Okay.
involving sex trafficking.
So kidnapping would fall to our major crimes unit, and that's who responded yesterday. So any kidnapping that comes in, we also have a hostage rescue team, which I'm also the commander of. So we would respond to something like that if it was more of a prolonged situation. The sex trafficking, we have a member. It's of the FBI task force that works for the sheriff's office, but is assigned to the task force, and that's primarily his job is sex trafficking. And he was contacted, and they are involved.
Last question from the investigator. Were they cooperative when you apprehended them? What did that look like? Take me through it.
So they were cooperative in that they went along with the program. There was no altercation. They went into custody without incident. As far as anything after that, I can't really comment.
Are they from the area? I know you said that you guys,
Yes, they are from the area. Suspects are both from this area.
Would you guys mind if I asked a question? If you don't want me to, I won't.
Your thing.
Just, it's rare that you see video like this that depicts what sex trafficking is and how this works. So just, the public gets to see this now, how does that help law enforcement, help people understand kind of what happens in situations like this?
So I think it's good that the video got out so that people understand that this is not a victimless crime. Oftentimes we talk about prostitution and we say it's a victimless crime, but it really isn't. And this woman was definitely a victim, and ultimately a victim who was in great physical peril due to what was going on. Her life circumstance put her in a place where this is the way she had to survive. So, I mean, this is what sex trafficking is, what abduction is, what kidnapping is. That's that video is it's not a victimless crime in any way.